As you may have heard, the newest entry into the Legend of Zelda franchise, Breath of the Wild, has gotten perfect scores and high praises and being regarded as one of the best games of all time. And hell yes, it is the best game I have ever played. Breath of the Wild just puts you in the game and says, here you go, have fun. This is your adventure. Anything you think you can do, you can almost certainly do it. So there isn't a tutorial in the game in the most basic sense like, hey dummy, this is a video game, you press buttons to control your character and yeah, you get it. Breath of the Wild does have a pseudo-tutorial, but it's the entirety of the Great Plateau that's used to teach you how to play. In fact, it doesn't even really teach you, instead it gives you the necessary tools, and it's up to you to teach yourself. The first steps you take as a newly reawakened Link, the game gives you no instructions, no feedback, except Zelda saying, wake up Link, and bam, you're off. The Great Plateau is used as a controlled environment to give you a small taste of what the rest of the game will be like. And note I said be like, because after you learn the main mechanics, the open world starts to throw in new tweaks to puzzles and new ways to look at the mechanics you were just taught, without being like, yo, here's how to do it, and more like, is that thing you're trying to do possible? Well, you'll never know unless you try, little shit. The first 4 shrines you encounter equip you with the necessary runes for the Sheikah Slate in order to start exploring. A Magnesis rune that lets you lift metal objects, a Cryonis rune that lets you create pillars of ice by freezing water, a Stasis rune letting you freeze objects in time, storing their potential energy, and of course bomb runes, which do just that. Throw bombs.
I mean, come on, it's not rocket science.
Within those shrines, you use the runes just acquired to test out the mechanics, introducing you to how the game works. And I know it's like, duh, every Zelda game teaches you how to use their gear you just got from within a dungeon. Okay, but the majority of that dungeon is used solely for that item. The fact that you get every item necessary at the beginning speaks to how flexible they want the solving of puzzles in the world to be. Like, hey, can't reach that metal object in the water because the current is too strong? Well, try using the Cryonis rune to create a platform closer to the metal object so you can be closer to pull it up. It's genius! I feel like a genius whenever I solve something and then go to talk to friends about it, only to find out that they solved the puzzle a completely different way. Like in this one shrine, the game wants you to clearly navigate the ball through a maze-like platform, and I couldn't do it. The ball would either fall off or just miss the jump at the end, until I realized, whoa, I can turn the platform over and completely bypass the whole maze. It's just so freaking good. A complaint I've heard from others are about weapon fragility and how easy they break, and I mean sure, in some games it's annoying that weapons can break, but the way it's used in Zelda adds to the freedom and flexibility of combat. It lets you, the player, decide whether you want to confront a group of enemies or not, and if you do, you have a whole arsenal at your disposal to do so, like your Sheikah Slate runes, effectively making the environment a weapon itself. And when your weapons do break, this opens up an opportunity to go explore for more weapons, thus opening up the world even more, leading to new areas, new shrines, new puzzles. See, the game is built around this idea of exploration, so it doesn't feel like a hassle when you go out looking for a replacement weapon. Whenever I see that message, your so-and-so weapon is badly damaged, I actually get excited because in the middle of a fight, the stakes are higher, and then comes the point where you throw the equipped weapon to deal double damage. And then you go out and explore for new weapons and repeat the process, and it's just so good. Now, I get it. The argument that, oh, there needs to be some realism in video games, and in real life, weapons wouldn't break this easily. Or how did Adventures and Knights of Hyrule deal with their weapons breaking all the time? Maybe that's why Ganon won, because no one had durable armaments. I get it, I do. But I'm also a firm believer in video games imposing some sort of limitations on a player in order to have a semblance of laws or rules its worlds need to abide by. For example, in rock, paper, scissors, if you throw scissors and your opponent throws rock, you lose. You can't change your decision to paper because that's not the rules. And if you could, there would be no challenge. You made the decision to throw scissors. The rules of rock, paper, scissors allow for you to decide how you go about achieving victory. Zelda works off of the same principle of risk versus reward. Is it worth it to fight this group of monsters? Would the reward be worth me potentially breaking my favorite weapon? That's your decision. If weapons didn't break, everyone would play the same way. Choose the most powerful weapon and use that. It doesn't allow for players to mold and shape the outcome of an encounter themselves. It doesn't provide a challenge, which I welcome in my video games. Hell, some of my favorite games are of the Soulsborne series, and even in Dark Souls your weapons have a durability, but they rarely ever break because you're constantly ditching an older weapon for something more powerful. And even then there's an element to min-maxing that's I'm not even gonna get into that right now. The world of Breath of the Wild is so fun to explore. It's so full of things to do. I don't even like riding my horse because I feel like I'd be missing some secrets that I rode past. I love coming across ruins or towers to be able to explore them, and the short stretches of fields fields and hills only intensifies that feeling of wonder and bewilderment of what am I gonna come across next. I think the most I've gone without coming across something out of place or something that looks interesting is maybe like 45 seconds, a minute max. Every time I do encounter something strange, it's always rewarding. I've played for over 50 hours and it's safe to say I've only discovered maybe 25% of what the game has to offer. And I'm not bored. This is coming from a guy who gets distracted easily and constantly jumps from game to game. I haven't been this absorbed with the video game and obsessed with its world since I finally bought a PS4 and Destiny, and that was, what, 3 years ago? And there were other games that came and went, but none of them recaptured that childlike wonder I haven't felt since, well, I was a child. My only complaint, and it's not even a complaint at all, more of a head scratch really, is the music of Breath of the Wild is absolutely amazing. When there is music. Don't get me wrong, the ambience is fantastic with the wind and the birds and the sound of wolves and animals, though I wish there were more songs I can hum to or sing along with. My favorite theme so far is the Rito Village theme. It's a remix of the Dragon Roost Island theme, and when I got to Rito Village, I didn't even notice at first, until I really paid attention. And then I literally had the biggest grin I could have fit my entire Switch in my mouth. Now, I haven't even completed the game, but with my 50+ hours with Zelda, I can safely say, without a doubt, this is the best game I've ever played. It's the first game in a while that I've engrossed myself in. I want to 100% it. I want to find every shrine. I want to find every Korok. I want to collect every armor set. I can't wait for the DLC. And I can't believe I just said that because I never do DLC. The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild is an absolute joy to play, and it deserves a spot on your shelf. So I'm just gonna go back to what I do best, playing video games. And until next time, I'll see you later.